I'm gonna get some people get signed on here and we're going to get started. We're going to get excited about the new information and what we get to learn because we want to understand. Get signed on here. What's happening? Started. I don't know what just happened. But we're going to get started and we're going to talk about some things that are really interesting to me. Some things that, I'm in a constant learning curve here of how the bank works. And today I want to talk again about what is going on when we're applying for student loans. I think it's super important that the kids understand what they're getting into when we are working in a student loan. What does that mean? What kind of damage are we doing when we're actually going into the student loan? I talk about loans on here all the time, right? I teach people how to get out of debt. I teach you tools that you can use so that you won't ever go back into a bad debt. Okay, the idea is that we want to learn how to use our money in a way that is going to kind of speed up our debt elimination. And if you're not in debt, then you want to speed up any retirement funds that you have, any investments that you have. Who in the room would not rather spend money on themselves, spend money on their children in future investments than they would paying interest on these loans? So if you're following the channel at all, the YouTube channel VANNtastic, then you're going to learn some things. You're going to figure some things out about your own finances that you may have never heard before. And that's all the channel is for, is to show you options on how to get out of debt. Today, we're going to be talking about what this particular student loan is, how it works, and how, should I use the word dirty? I won't use the word dirty. I'll use the word non-beneficial for you. And I'm talking to parents because this is directed at you, the parent. Okay? Earlier in a live today, I talked about the student loan and what it looks like to the student, because I said, your child comes out of high school, goes into college, they're so excited to be getting their life started. So, they got to sign up for the classes. Then, while they're in high school, they're getting prepared for that college debt. I said it, not the college experience. They're getting prepared to take on the college debt. Okay? So when you look at this, you think, okay, do they really want our children in debt? Well, sure they do. Because if they can load you up with debt while you're in school, then you have to go to work. And remember, they give you 6 months. Is it 6 months they give you to before they start making you make the payments? Why? Because they want you to go to work. And so if you're in debt, then guess what? You've got to start pushing just as soon as you graduate, because those student loans are coming and by golly, they're going to get their money. Okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about the difference. The FAFSA, is that FAFSA? FAFSA, is that not the hardest thing that it is to say? Okay. But we're going to talk about this. This is great for grants. But what happens is they give you an idea of how much of a loan you're going to have too, right? So let's talk about the difference between a dependent and an independent when it comes to how much money that you can be awarded in a Pell Grant or not, in a student loan or not, and how this is helpful to the student that wants to attend college or university. First off, when you're filling out this FAFSA, you have to they're going to determine if you're an independent or if you're a dependent, meaning do you still live at home with your parents or are you out on your own? And this is the criteria that determines if you're an independent. Are you 24 years old? Are you married? A graduate in the graduate school? Or have children? Active duty, veteran? So if you are considered an independent, meaning you're in graduate school, meaning you've already done your undergraduate, you're now going to become an attorney, for example. You're married, which is likely, 24 years old, have children, active duty, or veteran. So what this means is you're considered an independent if you are one of these when you are filling out your FAFSA. That means that you may qualify for more aid because you are independent. So they're counting on your income, your assets, right? So the average loans to the independent is going to be about $7,600. Okay. Now let's talk about the average grant to a dependent. This is somebody that still lives with their parents. So the parents have to fill out the FAFSA for them because they're dependent. Their income and assets have to be reviewed. They're also going to be looking at the tax returns of the parent. Let's see, what else? The student aid index. That's what they're trying to determine here. And they're going to look at the income and assets of the parents, okay, from the adjusted gross income from their tax forms. That's why if you're a dependent living at home, then you're not going to get as much of a grant, okay? You're not going to be allowed as much of student loans maybe, which probably is not a bad idea. Then they're going to count the household size, how many people are living, under this income, the number of family members in college, and the tax info, like I said. So this is how they kind of determine what amounts are available to you when you have applied, okay? You're wanting to get the federal grants. That's great. Let's get some federal money in. But then you're going to have to fill that gap, right? You're going to have to fill that gap between what the grant allows you and then what your actual attendance is going to cost you in whichever university that you decide to attend. Now, I said in an earlier live, my daughters started talking about university right in high school, and I told them, you can go to college. I have no problem with that, but you're not getting a loan and I'm not paying for it. That sounds maybe rude and crude, but guess what? They told me today upon having this conversation that they were so glad that I set those rules because they never had a student loan and they've never had any student debt as far as going to college because they worked for scholarships and then they worked to pay for their books. All right, so when you as a parent are talking to your child, understand a couple of things. Kids are just excited because this is all the hip thing to do is to go to university. Not even knowing what you're going for. They tell you, oh, just go in and finish your generals and then, you'll figure it out. Right? Did you? I didn't. I figured out within a couple of semesters that college was not for me because I didn't know what I was going to college for. And so I ended up deciding on taking other avenues, and I'm glad I did because I'm here now. And I didn't waste any time in the university. I didn't waste any time on university debt. And I got life started because isn't that what we want to do? Is when we're moving into adulthood, we want to get life started. We don't want to wait 4 years to make money. I want to make it today, right? I was excited to get out of high school so that I could run. I was sick and tired of sitting inside of a classroom, and some of you may be like that, and some of you may really enjoy going to school and you're a lifetime student, and thank you, Jesus, that you love that because I don't. Okay? So let's talk about this right here. This is what I'm getting to. Because I am working with parents every day that have this thing called the Parent Plus loan. And I'm like, what is that? Or Direct Plus, even, it's called sometimes. What is that? So I've been doing some study on the Parent Plus. You know, is that a good idea? What is that exactly? Well, I was really, really shocked to find out that the Parent Plus is a loan that the parent can get to fund the child's college education, which, you know, that sounds like the really, really nice thing to do. You know, we love our kids. We want them to be happy. You know, they want to go to school. We want them to go to school if that's what they want to do. So let me help you with your college debt. I don't know where parents got the idea that they had to cover the university fees and tuition that they charge to go to school. I never had anybody step up and say, hey, I'm going to pay for your college. You go ahead. I got this. Nope, it's called self-responsibility. Every class I took, I paid for and did not expect to put that on my parents. We don't owe our kids a push to make them go out and be what they're already designed to be in this world, which is successful. We are all individuals. We go find our own thing. I have 3 daughters. All 3 of them are finding their own thing. They don't work in VANNtastic. They've never worked in my line of work because they are individuals. God put them down here to do something besides what I do. So for me to be responsible for an education that you're probably not even going to use, I mean, put a thumbs up in the comments if you went to school and did not use your degree, or if you have a child that went to the university and didn't and still is not using their degree. Let's do a thumbs up if you know somebody that went through the university, got the degree, and doesn't use it all day long. All around me, family members, kids I know at church, my 2 daughters that graduated with honors have never used their degree. So isn't that kind of crazy that the universities are charging, Lord only knows what, let's say 30,000 even, that would be cheap. And you're not even using what they sent you to or what you went to school for. So let's think along the lines of, that's a big decision there, hon. Do you know what you want to be? You're going to school. Do you know what you want to be? What do you want to do? And if they say, well, you know, I don't know. I think I might do criminal justice, or I don't know, maybe I'll be an attorney, or maybe an accountant. You know, it's like, what's your drive? What is it that you want to do? What do you want to do with your life? I help people. So my idea is and always has been and is a proven fact that the more people you help to get what they want, the more things that you're going to get what you want. That's just the law of giving and receiving. You're going to give out into the world, and then you'll get back what you put out, right? The measure you give, then the measure you will receive. So do you know that the search in the search engine for any kind of debt that people all over the world and in America for sure are searching for is how are they going to pay for their college? How are they going to pay for it? Well, that's what we're here to talk about, because they're offering you loans. They're offering you ways to get into debt and get surrounded by debt and get suffocating with debt, and to just be so consumed with the thoughts of your student loans that you can't even focus on your life once you do graduate, because you've got to get to work to pay for those student loans. But it even goes deeper than this. Okay? It even goes deeper. These loans, the undergraduate, now this is federal loans, okay? The undergraduate, and we're talking this year, 2025, will be charged 6.39% on the student loan. Now, these are the interest is deferred until they graduate, okay, or until they quit school. The payments are deferred as well. But if you're in a graduate school, it increases. You're now at 7.94% interest rate. And most of the time, the interest starts when this loan is obtained, but the payments are deferred. So we're going to talk about what that means. I've talked about that a lot, but we're going to talk about what that means when your interest is growing, but your payments are on hold. This one right here, this one kicks my butt. This is the Parent Plus, 8.94%. Okay, why, first off, government, did we jump over 2% in an interest rate just because a parent wanted to help their kid out? Is there anything fair about that? All right, so my next question would be, okay, the interest is deferred here. It is not here. The payments are deferred here. They can be deferred on the Parent Plus if they get approval while the student is still in school and attending, okay? But this isn't the worst part of the Parent Plus. I'm going to erase this so that I can outline what I'm talking here about, because we're going to be dealing with this right here, the Parent Plus at 8.94% in this school year, 2025. Number one, why is this so discouraging? Well, one, the interest starts the day they receive the loan. So it starts immediately. So the interest starts immediately on the Parent Plus loan and the graduate loan. What's next? Two, this loan, the Parent Plus, is the parent's responsibility. Okay? Meaning it cannot be transferred to the student. So the parent has complete responsibility for taking this loan, even though it's to pay the university. Okay? The parent cannot transfer this off. All right, what's the third thing that's irritating to me? Well, number three, and hold on to this because I could not believe this. But these loans can be obtained by a parent with just a credit report pulled. That's it. What does that mean? Okay, so your credit report is pulled, and upon them pulling it, they're just verifying that you don't have bankruptcies, right? Or collections. All right, so now I don't know if you heard me or not, but they're not looking at your DTI. They don't care how much debt you already have. And worse than that, worse than the DTI, they're not checking. They also are not doing any income verifications. Now, for some people, they would be like, oh, wow. So as long as I have halfway decent credit, it doesn't matter what my credit score is, just as long as I don't have bankruptcies and collections, you know, the bad stuff. And it doesn't matter how much income I'm bringing in. It doesn't matter if I'm laid off right now. Are you telling me that I can go pick up a loan for my child's university? Wow. Well, honey, guess what? Your school's going to get paid for because the government's going to pay for it. Is that real? Not if you're a responsible person. If you're a responsible person, you're like, okay, that sounds a little bit fishy. That's a little bit fishy there. Why would this could not be real? Look it up. Now, how much would they loan on a Parent Plus? Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I got this at Dillard's. Thank you. Okay. Depending upon the financial need. So, depending upon how much it's going to cost for the child to attend the university, and let's say that's $30,000, and then their SAI, which we were talking about, the students, you know, and all this stuff I went through and all that, depending upon how much the person or the family is going to bring in to be able to help pay the college tuition. Whatever's left, which in this case, 30,000 would be the charge for the university. 5,000 is what the student or the parent, you know, the FAFSA up here says that they will have to bring in. That means 30 minus 5 is 25. So $25,000 could be what this parent could get with the Parent Plus at 8.94%. Okay, so obviously you're going to get approved unless you have, you know, just a bad history of credit. $25,000. Do you know how many parents that come to me during our meetings have the Parent Plus? And none of them are aware of what they jumped into? Okay, so when you're talking about this, to some people, that may be like, yeah. But then to people that are financially responsible, they're like, wow, let me take a step back. Why are they allowing this? Well, hello, the parent is getting the loan to pay the university, right? So the idea is that the government is going to win regardless, because this is drawing interest. And after 25 years of payments, they can stop making payments. 25 years. Do you know that the interest on that is going to be about 180% by the time you get to the 25 years? Yeah. Let's keep talking, because I want to show you the options that you would have besides doing something as silly as this. If you are aimed and determined to pay for your kids' college education, We have 4 years to prepare for that. And it's not the 529. We have 4 years to prepare for college education. If we know where our kids are going to go, just like we know Christmas is coming in December, why don't we prepare for that? And that way we're not in a mess. Okay? Let's talk about that. Now, if we're talking about, let's go back up here at the 6.39% for the undergraduate loan, okay? 6.39%. Do you know what that is on $10,000? A $10,000 loan? $1.75 per day. Okay, so $1.70. That don't seem too bad. Okay, that's not too bad. I like it. I like it. Let's do it. Really? Let's talk about that. Because if you have a $10,000 student loan, okay, this is a student loan, and it's charging $1.75 per day. Let's do that times 30. So 1.75 times 30. That's $52.50 in interest for 1 month. All right. We're not making payments on this though, because they deferred it. They said I don't have to make payments on it until I graduate, and then 6 months after that. So what's the big deal? Well, on most of these student loans, the interest is growing every month while you are playing pretend that you got this free money from the government and they're here to help you. So the end of the first month, you have a balance of $10,052.50. All right, so let's figure out what month 2 would look like. What if, let's see, let's do some numbers. So 10,000 times, and it's 6.39% as the low one. Okay, so now we're going to do $10,052.50 times the same interest rate, 6.39%, divided by 12, because we're trying to get the daily, not the daily rate. Well, we had the daily rate up here, but we're going to do the monthly down here, which is $53.52 interest for month 2. All right, so let's add. Oh, wait, we're up to $10,105.02. Wait, we're not done because we got month 3 coming. So let's take 10,105.02 times 6.39% divided by 12, $53.80. So now we are at okay, so do you all see what's happening here? Every single month that this sits, it's just adding interest, compounding interest. Okay, so this should like make your heart stop for just a second. You should like, I don't know, like that should take your breath. Why? Because this is your kid, or this is your loan, your parent, plus it's at 8.94. Hello, I am just doing the low at 6.39. So this is growing. And so when I work with professionals, accountants, doctors, lawyers, and they have $200,000 and $300,000 student loans, they didn't start at $200,000 or $300,000. They started at 100,000, 150,000. And this right here, this interest growing while it was sitting still, while the government was doing us a favor by deferring our payments. Well, guess what? We are the ones that get to eat it. Okay? Now, I know that for like people that work in the government and stuff like that, there's that, you know, you pay your payments for 10 years and then you'll get to write it off. Really? Really? It's a 10-year loan. Then you get to write it off? Okay. Why? Because you charged us 180% interest and now, okay, we've paid enough. Take the shackles off, please. Guys, think about what you're doing before you get into these student loans. Before you get into any loan, but the student loans. Parents, I feel so sorry for you if you got in the Parent Plus. I don't even know what to think about that one. I don't even know what to think about that. Okay, so we went over this. This is okay. We're good. So let's talk about now, how are you going to avoid the student loan debt? Because your kid wants to go to college and we're going to get you prepared for that. Okay. So let's talk about what happens. And okay, so let's go back here. Let's act like that they get the grant. We don't care for them having the grant. That's free money. Sure. Sure. If you can get a grant, go for it. That just helps pay for some college. And you know what? It is so terrible because a lot of kids cannot get grants because of their parents and what they make, and they're considered a dependent. Why? Because they're under 24 years old, they're not married, they're not in graduate school yet, they don't have children, and they're not in the military. And don't get me wrong, active duty military, you should get your stuff free. I mean, I hope you do. And I hope veterans do. Because you served the nation. And I hope that you're getting everything free. I think that the military should receive housing and everything free for what you did for us. So if you're in the military or you're a spouse of one or you're a parent of one, then thank you for serving. I think that I'm just so proud of you that you can do that, because you're protecting my rights and I appreciate that. So I'm number one for the military, okay? Whatever branch you're in. So let's talk about how to do this. Let's say that this loan was offered to you, $5,880, and you're like, no, thank you. Christy VANN told me in 2025 how to fix this problem, and I'm going to go with this. So I have already prepared, and I have a $10,000 line of credit. Now, if you've heard my videos before, we talk about the line of credit being a HELOC. This is a home equity line of credit. So you have to own a home. Okay. They've got a PLOC. This is a personal line of credit. It's just a basic unsecured line of credit. So it's unsecured. You don't have to have a home or anything for this one. Then we have credit cards. We all know what that is. These are unsecured, and we can charge on them. So they have charges. HELOC, PLOC credit card. There's also BLOCs, business lines of credit. There's CLOCs, which are checking lines of credit. So there's all kinds of stuff out there. Now, so you prepare. You go prepare next week and get you a line of credit, because you don't even know what's going to come up in your life that you're going to need some extra money sometime, okay? So the 10,000 line, and let's say that you need 5,800 of this line. So 5,880 was your child's college debt for the semester or whatever. This now is your balance. How are you going to pay for this? Well, remember, when we talk about the lines of credit, they're revolving. So your income can go in, your expenses can come back out. So your income is whatever you bring home, okay? So whatever you bring home, even if you find $10 on the street, you can put it into this line of credit. Now, if you pay expenses, which we all do, and every one of us watching right now is watching on a phone or a computer, so you're paying for internet, right? So your internet, car insurance, food, gas, utilities, I mean, everything, your rent, your house payment, everything can come out of this line of credit, okay? So the idea is that when you have the line of credit, and let's say that you bring home $5,000 a month, then it would go into this line of credit. Now, how much interest are you going to pay on this? Next to zero? Why? Because your income is going in and circulating through this line of credit, right? So your average interest on this is going to, at max, let's say this is a 12% line of credit too. We'll say it's 12%. You're going to pay maybe $10 to $25. So let's put $25 just to give us some room to laugh. All right, so this is your interest. Now you're going to have to pay your expenses because you have expenses that's going to come out here. So let's go ahead and count on, you know, you've got your rent or your house payment. Let's say that's $2,000. And let's say you've got your utilities. Let's say that's $400 total. Let's say you've got your car insurance. That's probably $130. You've got to buy food. So let's say that's $800. Oh, $800. What else? Your phones, you have to pay for your phones, $100. And then anything else you have. So let's add up some totals here. So that's $2,400. And let's add another 1,000 for miscellaneous in case you have more higher expenses than this, or maybe you have a car payment or something. But let's add another 1,000. We're going to say that your monthly expenses are $3,430. So we have to take that back out. So let's add $3,430 back in for our monthly expenses. All right, so after you pay your expenses, you're paying, you're going to have a balance in month 2 of about $43.35. So we'll write that here. Month 2, your income, you only make $5,000 and you can't even put it in here. Income for month 2. Wow, that looked like a really fast way to pay off $5,880 rather than sitting there letting interest build up on nothing. Wasn't that amazing? Do we have any comments about this? Very good. I agree with you. Okay, so the fact is that don't get stressed out about expenses. Don't get stressed out about college debt. Don't get stressed out about the new car. This is how you're going to handle your life for the rest of your life. As long as they let us have lines of credit, we can be excited to live. We can. A line of credit, a credit card, same thing, except the personal line or the HELOC gives you more access to funds instead of just having to charge it. Right? Because you have to charge on a credit card. But don't be stressing out about the college debt and looking at the college loans. Please hear me. Please hear me. This is what you need to do to find your financial freedom from the student debt. Okay? I hope that makes sense for you. I'll do another example if you would like for me to, because I have live examples. I have live examples of people that are in these situations. So I'll erase this so that I don't stress out anymore about the Parent Plus loan and what parents are getting themselves into. And we'll talk a little bit before I sign off today. We'll talk a little bit about the credit cards and the line of credit. So I'll go over that again, that the credit card is a line of credit. It is the line of credit that you can charge on, okay? Charge, you know, you can charge, and I'll just tell you, I use my credit card every day, nearly. Anything I need, I'm going to pay for it with a credit card. Why? Well, one, I know how to use them, so I'm not getting a bunch of interest. I pay them off before the due date. I'm saying I'm in a different position. I've been where you may be, where you have credit card debt constantly and you're paying interest. I understand. I've been there and I literally came up out of that, and I know you can too. So the credit card we charge on throughout the month. So if I pay for groceries, I'll put groceries. If I pay for gas. If I pay my car insurance, which is probably about that much. If I pay for clothes, say I spend clothes money. If I pay my electric bill, any utilities, anything can be charged onto the credit card, okay? Anything that can be charged onto a credit card, you can use in Velocity Banking. How? Well, all right. So if that's $800 in charges, I can take my credit card, and if you have a credit card debt, and I'm just using an example here, if your credit card balance right now is $1,000, and you have these expenses here that I listed, there's more you can charge. Gosh, I charge every day for something, but the restaurants, whatever. But if you know, okay, I'm going to have $800 in expenses that I am going to have to pay this month. I'm going to have to pay it. So how am I going to use the line of credit to do that? Here you go. I would put, back when I had this situation, I would put my $800 income into the credit card just to pay for these things. Okay? So my income goes in to this credit card balance. It took it down to $200. So what? The bank thinks I'm trying to pay off my credit card. Yay! What's that going to do? What's that going to do to your credit score? Well, heck yeah, it's going to look great. So your income goes in, and then as I go, okay, now I went to the grocery store yesterday, spent $100, went and got gas today, spent $50. My car insurance is due in 2 weeks, so I paid that out 2 weeks later. Let's see. I went shopping, 10 days ago, $50. So it's adding up throughout the month. Okay? Slowly adding back up. But by the time you get to the end of your $800, guess what? You get paid again, and your income's going to go in again, and you're going to pay this back down. So you're very, very little interest that you're paying now. I don't care if this is a 30% interest rate, you're not going to pay much interest at all here. And where did your payment go that you have to make on this $1,000 credit card? Where did it go? Well, when your income went in, it satisfied it. So you don't even have to worry about making the payment on this card because once your income went in, you satisfied it. So many times I see worksheets where it's one credit card after another. We're going to be talking about this in the master class that we're getting ready to start on August the 2nd. We're going to be dealing with the credit card debt because I've got a client who has like $2,500 on one card and they're paying $225, I guess, in payments. I've got one that's got $5,000, $5,100, and they're paying about, I guess, $400 in payments. And then I've got one that she's got $10,000 and she's paying close to $500, I guess, whatever. So the idea is that if I'm using this card to pay my electric bill, then my electric bill is $350 for the electric. When I put in my $350, this payment right here went away because I satisfied it. My income went in. This is my income. It went in just to pay my electric bill, but it satisfied that monthly payment. So did you just gain $225 in cash flow? Looks like it. So even if you have no cash flow, you have cash flow now. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, so let's go to the 400. All right, I pay for gas and my, well, let's see what else we pay. Car insurance. So my gas, if that's $200 a month, and then my car insurance is $300 a month, that's $500. So if I put $500 into this card just to cover my car, gas, and car insurance, what happens to the $400 payment? Well, it was just added in cash flow. So did you just gain $625 in cash flow just because you're using your credit cards correctly? Thank you, Martha. All right, so let's keep going. 10,500. I probably spend $2,000 a month in the grocery store and restaurants. Maybe you do too, but let's say you spend $1,000 going into your credit card, bringing your balance down so that you can charge. So this is your income going in. Then your food throughout the month. Now it's not going to come out at one time. You're going to buy groceries today. You're going to go to the restaurant over the weekend. You're going to go buy groceries again in 7 or 8 days. You're going to go back to a restaurant. So it gradually builds back up, right? Income going in. When you get paid, you pay your bills, right? So instead of paying the bills directly, instead of me sitting down and paying my electric bill to the electric company, I put my income for the electric bill into the credit card right here. Made a payment. $350 into the credit card so that on the day my electric bill is due, I can have them charge it right off of this credit card by going online and putting in my credit card information. Same here with the car insurance and the gas. I get paid. I know I'm going to be spending $500 for the next 2 weeks or the next month. So when I get paid, my money goes into the credit card instead of sitting in the bank waiting for me to use it, because what happens, it disappears, right? So why let it just disappear and slip through your fingers if you can put it into your credit card, preparing for all those charges you're going to make for food and car insurance or car gas throughout the month. Same here. Now, I have some people that do this. This $500 on this card becomes cash flow when you're putting in your income to cover your expenses. Okay? Yes, I do one-on-ones. I am doing the master class though. That's the better deal. I know that's funny that I say that, but the master class is 5 weeks. They're 90 minutes per class in a group virtual setting where we try to review your worksheets if we have time during that 5 weeks. Okay, so that link is in the chat on the YouTube video. If you want to check that out, I'll have it under the video in the description as well for the masterclass. Anyway, the idea is that you're gaining cash flow every time you use your credit cards correctly. I use them as expense cards. So my expenses go on my credit cards every month, and then I put the money back into the credit card to cover what expenses I did in the month, because I'm backwards now, because I'm not dealing with credit card debt like I did back in the day. But if you have credit card debt, you may want to consider doing this. Now, what happens when I take this? Let's see what we saved here in cash flow. $1,125 now in new cash flow that I found just because I was using my credit cards right. What happens if I take that $1,125 and I put it into this? So let's just do some numbers. 2,500, put 350 in. That's 2,150. I'm going to go ahead and put my newfound cash flow into this as well. So 1,125. So 1,025. Do you see how fast it looks like that bill paid down? Your credit card went from 2,500 to 1,025. And yes, you're going to be paying your electric bill back out of this whenever it's due, at the first or the end of the month or whenever. Okay, so let's keep doing that cycle on this, and month 2, let's go over here and work on this one. So 5,100, 500 going in is 4,600. Month 2, I'll take my cash flow, 1,125, and put in here. $34.75. Did I do that right? Yeah. All right. Then you might spend a couple of months on this one. Now, I'm not taking cash flow that you already had available. After you do your worksheet, you may find that you have $1,000 to $3,000 in cash flow. You would add that in here, and this would be paid off quickly. I'm just using what we took in payments off of these cards because we started using our credit cards as expense cards. If you're lost, go to the YouTube channel, and in the playlist, I have a section called Credit Card Debt Strategies. and you can check those out, and that will help you see the breakdown on how to use the credit cards, because I know that the Americans are in the worst credit card debt we've ever been in before. So you may be one of them. All right, so the idea is a couple of months on this card, you're going to be paid way down. Then you can move over and start applying there. So let's take a real life scenario here. Because I have a lady that she has a bunch of credit cards, and she is freaking out because she thinks she'll never get out of debt, but I've got news for her. She is going to do just fine. So let me pull her worksheet back up here again. Holy moly. See if I can do this. Yeah, that's way too small. Let's see. Hold on with me, dudes. The idea is that everybody has something financially that is eating them alive. And if we can help them, we're going to, because I know how it feels to be suffocating in debt. Okay, here we go. So this person, I'm gonna look at their income. Okay, so they have, it's a couple, it's a married couple, they're retired. They have $7,483 coming in every month. So here we go. Let me erase this so I can have more room. And I actually think I'm going to get another marker here so that you all can see what I'm writing. Maybe. Okay. All right. So the income is 7,000. We're going to say it was over 7,000, but I like to leave room for error. And now we're going to talk about the debt that they have. So they are renters, okay? So they rent. And let's see what their rent is here. Okay, their rent is $800. So they are living with one of their kids, and their rent is $800. They have a car. So their car payment is, well, their balance is $6,200 and their car payment is $225. Now here's the credit cards. Credit card number 1, the balance is $19.23. Their payment is $100. Credit card number 2 is $26.20. And they pay $200. Credit card number 3 is $3,073. And then they have a payment on that of $65. I don't know how that's so low. That looks like a 0% maybe. All right, and then they have one more. Credit card number 4. That balance is $28.08. That one is $215. Okay. think they have 0% on this one, but that's okay. We're still going to calculate that. Now, let's see what other debt they have. They have a lending tree debt of $25,000. I'm going to write that down here at the bottom. So they've got a personal loan that's a $25,000 balance, and they pay $667 on that. All right. Now let's add up these numbers and see first what payments they make on this. 800, 225, 100, 200, 65, 215, and 667. So they have 2272. All right, this pen is going out too. So 2272 in monthly payments here. All right, now let's look at their living expenses. Okay, it's showing that they have internet, YouTube, TV, groceries. Let's see what that adds up to be. So internet 129, YouTube TV, they've got it $88. I did not know that was that high. Groceries are $1,000. And then they have miscellaneous at 100. They must pay into the utilities there. So they're saying utilities are 140. And then they have cell phones, 243. And then they have, oh gosh, an IRS debt. That needs to be on the other table. They have various medical bills at 125. Oh my gosh, they have a student loan too that they're not making a payment on. Oh my goodness. They have a car insurance at 212. And then they have gasoline for the cars at 250. So 2287 is their living expenses. So where am I going? I'm going to put their living expenses. Oh, and including, no, I already put the 800 in here. Okay, so living expenses were what? 2287. All right, and then their total debt payments were 2272. All right. So their total expenses together is what I'm going to add up here. So 4559 is their total expenses. So let's see how fast this is going to be to get them out of debt, because this is going to be super easy because they don't have any debt in my mind. They don't have any debt. Equals drugs, maybe. You don't need YouTube TV. I will totally agree with you. Okay, here we go. So they have 4559 in total expenses every month. They bring in 7,000. So what are we going to do with this credit card debt? Let's just start with, oh wait, they do have a car payment too. It's right there. All right. Let's just start with credit card number 1. 1923 is the balance. Okay. So 2287 included their gas, food, and all that stuff. And remember, I said their food was $1,000. So we're going to put their food income into this to pay for their food throughout the month. They are retired on Social Security and retirement, so they do get paid once a month. So this would go in when they get paid. So this income covers their food. And then remember what I said about the YouTube TV, the gas, and the car insurance. That's going to total a good 500 at least. So we're going to put in 500. to cover. Income covers their gas and subscriptions, whatever you want to call it, and car insurance. All right. So 1,500 went in to cover just this. When this money goes in to cover their expenses, what happened to their $100 payment that they had due? It was satisfied, right? Okay. Now let's do the subtraction here to find out that it looks like to the bank that they almost paid off their debt just by putting in their food and their gas income. Now it will come back out, right? But they have cash flow. So let's talk about that. They have 7,000 income. They had over 7,000. I'm just counting 7,000. Then their total expenses were 45.59. So let's do some math. 7,000, 45.59, 24.41 means this is cash flow. Okay, this is what they have left over every month after they pay all of their expenses. Okay, so since they have this, they could transfer the 423 over into this and pay this off. Now they're just paying their food, gas, and expenses back out of this again throughout the month. So they're always going to pay for food and gas and car insurance. So it'll charge back out slowly throughout the month. And then when they get paid in month 2, they'll put 1,500 back in again. How much interest are they paying on this? 0, right? Very, very close to 0 if they're not paying 0. So let's talk about what happens with credit card number 2. So this was an easy fix for credit card number 1. That one's paid off and done. So once we transfer all of the expenses we can over to another card, now that this one's paid off, we can start with 2620. We're going to put our income for the same stuff in here. We're going to cover our food, and we could just cover the food, but we could put in our gas and our utilities and our car insurance and everything, right? So does it look like to the bank that you're paying off the debt again? What happened when this income went in to cover the food expenses and stuff? What happened to this $200? It was satisfied. So the 100 is additional cash flow now, because she satisfied that on the last card. The 200 is additional cash flow now. So now they have $2,741 in cash flow that they could easily take from and pay off this second credit card. So in 2 months, they've paid off the credit cards, and they're just using the credit cards for their living expenses that they're already paying for. Okay, and if the credit card is maxed, that's a great question. The same thing here is, even if this is at 5,000 and that's your limit, then you can, and it's very, very wise that you make smaller weekly payments when you're at the limit on your credit cards, so that they won't cut your limits, okay? If credit cards see that you're at the limit and you throw $1,000 in there, they may cut your limit back 1,000. So I'd be super careful with that. But if you make, if you're going to put in $1,000 for your food throughout the month, then do it in $250 increments weekly. That will also give you a boost in your credit score most of the time. So are you looking for a boost in your credit score? If you are, revolve that credit card more often. Put the money in for the groceries today, go to the grocery store tomorrow. Buy gas in your car tomorrow, put the money back in for the gas the next day or 2 or 3. Just as long as you're revolving it every 2 or 3 days, that does wonders for credit scores. Okay? So these tips with the student loans and with how to use the credit cards are super awesome. But you know what? This could be a faster fix than this. And let me show you. So we'll go back to where this couple is in their expenses, and they have $19.23 balance on one credit card, $26.20 balance on the other, $3,073 balance on the other, and $28.08 on the last one. And even their car up here, $6,200. Let's see what their total is. $620 and $19.23. So that is $16,624. $16,624. What happens if they just decide, hey, I'm just going to get a line of credit and I'm going to pay off these debts and put everything into one line of credit? Now, these lines of credit like this and at my credit union are credit cards. So what does that mean? If you have a credit union or a bank and you have a checking account and you have a credit card or a PLOC, a personal line of credit, or a HELOC, you can link these accounts, meaning they serve sort of like an overdraft account. Okay, so if you keep your checking at a 0 and then you pay one of these credit card bills or whatever comes in at $200, when it hits the 0, if these accounts, one of them are set up as an overdraft, then it will automatically pull $200 from this line of credit, bringing this checking back down to 0. And now your $200 balance would be over here. So this is a super easy way to use your credit card that's linked to your checking account at your bank. Okay. So with that being said, if they have a credit card already, they may be able to do this. But if they get a line of credit, which usually those lines are about $15,000, but I'm going to show you an overview of what it would look like if they were to pay off this debt and put it into one line of credit where they have all of this debt in this one line and it's at, let's say, 15%. All right, let's say it's at 15% interest. So what happened to all of these payments right here? Well, they go away because when they paid them off into the line, they're no longer due. So their expenses here for their debt went down, meaning that they had $1605. No, wait, I'm sorry. $805 in these 5 debts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so we paid off the car, we paid off 4 credit cards, all this is gone. We put it into this line. Their cash flow went up $805 because they no longer have to make the individual payments on the cards and the car. So if they make $7,000 in a month and this is linked to their checking account, then they can put the $7,000 directly into their line of credit. Now, remember what I said earlier, the line of credit is revolving, right? So your income can go in and then you can pull it out. What happens with this car payment if they were to put $6,200 into the car and pay it off, can they pull the money back out and use it again? Every time they make a $225 payment towards the car, can they say, oh, wait a minute, I just put $225 in there for a payment, but I need $100. Can you give that back to me? What are they going to say? No, that's not the way a loan works. But that is the way the line works, the line of credit. So they put their income into the line. What happened to the balance of this new account? What happened to this balance when they put that $7,000 into the line? Well, we'll do the math so I don't do it wrong. 9624, 9624. All right, so that looks good. Okay, that looks like, wow, we're really working down that debt fast. That's crazy. But we have to pay our expenses back out, remember? So since the 2287 went down $805 from where we paid off the car payments, now we have 1482 due in payment. So 1482 is due for the payments, meaning the rent and the personal loan that they still have. They have to pay their payments and they have to pay their living expenses. Remember, they were $22.72, so they have to pay for everything else like their food, their gas, their car insurance. All right, so let's do some more numbers here now. So remember, I'm doing this at 15% interest. So let's do 9624, subtract the 1482, subtract the 2272. So they are at 5870. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I was supposed to add that. I'm adding. These are their expenses, not income. Okay. Let's start over here. So 9624 plus 1482 in payments plus 2272 in living expenses. So 13,378 is their balance going into the second month. Let's do it again now. Month 2, $7,000 in income goes in. Month 2, 6378. Now they have to pay their expenses again, and we're going to have to add interest because there's 15% interest on this account, right? So here we go. We're doing 1482 for payments that we have to make, 2272 for expenses, payments. And now let's calculate the interest, and I'm going to take the interest off of the high right here, 16,624. 16,624 times 15% divided by 12 is, let's say, $210 in interest. Okay, now let's add 210 plus 2272 in expenses, 1482 in monthly payments, and then 6378 in the balance, so 10,342. The end of month 2 going into month 3, 7,000 income goes in. Wow, we're like getting way down here, right? So 3342 is the balance. Now we're going to pay our expenses back out. And guess what? We can start picking up this personal loan and paying it off as well. And that big payment is going to be gone when we transfer all of that over here into this line. So how long is it going to take them? Even if they have $500 come up to where, oh, I need $500. Oh, well, guess what? Take it out of the line. It's okay, honey. We know how to do this now. We're not poor anymore. We just thought we were poor before. That was because we were sitting here making monthly payments like they told us to. And we were really just having all of this interest thrown on us when it was as simple as doing this right here. Okay? So how long is it going to take them to pay off $16,624 doing this right here? Their income was $7,000. They have their expenses. And then their interest, what it's going to be. So you're talking about the $16,624 would be paid off in 5.5 months. So 5.5 months at 15%. And they were sitting here in a car and all these credit cards making different payments, whereas if they had just consolidated it into a line of credit, not a loan, a line of credit, they would have had it all paid off in 5.5 months. They would be picking this up as well. Let's just add these numbers in for this $25,000 personal loan when we start paying it off into the line. And let's just see what that looks like for a total payoff on the 25,000. So we've got the new expenses. And then we've got the income at 7,000. We'll have the interest still. And then we're going to have, what am I missing? The payments, the expenses. All right, so the 25,000 would be paid off in approximately 7 more months. So 5.5 months for this, 7 months for the additional 25,000 at the most. 13 months, really less than a year if you do the numbers right. They could have been out of this debt in less than a year, and they've been sitting here making monthly payments month after month after month because that's what somebody told them that they had to do. Okay, so I want you guys to get educated. Like I say, the videos on the YouTube channel are free. They will teach you everything you need to know about using these lines of credit, about how to get out of debt quickly, how to use your income to serve you. All of your options are there, and you're going to be excited to get paid again. You're going to get excited to get paid so that you can start throwing your money into these lines and watching your debt decrease month after month after month. It gets me so excited. I swear I get so excited about money and finances now that I can't wait to wake up to work with you guys. I can't wait to see what kind of problems you think you're bringing to me, and let's see if we can get this figured out. Isn't that exciting to think that you don't have to be swallowed up by the stress of debt anymore? If you follow the simple process of velocity banking, the simple strategies, pick your own, you will stop crying yourself to sleep at night wondering how you're going to get rid of your debt. You will. If you start small on a line of credit, then work your way up. That's what I had to do. It transformed my life, transformed my financial life, my whole life, because the stress of money went away almost overnight. Because I was studying these strategies, I was checking out the banks, I was trying to figure out, well, can I do this with that credit card? And can I do this with a 0% credit card? And what happens if I do this? So I am just sharing with you my experiences. I am not a financial advisor. I am a human being, a single mom that went through hell as a divorcee, trying to figure out how I was going to pay off a bunch of debt that I took from the divorce to get rid of him. So the thing is you can be really free really fast, but it takes some self-study. You're going to have to watch the videos. You're going to have to do your worksheet. I help people every day to do this. You do not have to pay anybody to do this, though. I'm telling you, the videos teach you everything you need to know. I taught you enough tonight in this board alone that you should be able to sit down right now, write down all of your debts, do a worksheet, and get excited. You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank the Lord. Thank the Lord. So, Doug, the retirees have it rough because you are on SSDI or you're on Social Security or retirement. It's tough, but we work it out sometimes. I will say that the retirees that are on, Social Security, God bless you. What a shame that you have sat there until you're over 62, 65 years old, and this information didn't come to you back in the day when you could really get your finances in order and be prepared for retirement. But you're there now, and I work with retirees and we figure it out, okay? So I want everybody to stay encouraged. I want you to stay encouraged whatever your financial situation, because where there's a will, there's a way. And you're going to get through this, and you're going to be happier than you've ever been financially once you figure it out, okay? It may take you watching some videos a few times to figure it out. I have people all the time tell me, I watched probably 10 of your videos, and then all of a sudden the light went on, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. So now I get feedback every day, over and over and over. I'm doing velocity banking, and I've been able to pay off this much debt in 2 months. I've been able to pay off 2 credit cards that I never thought was going to end. Yes, anybody can do this. If you've got a credit card, you can do what I was showing with the credit cards. If you've got a line of credit, you can pay off any debt and work it down just like we showed here. The only thing you need is cash flow. And if you have very low cash flow, if you have a very high DTI, if you have a very low credit score and you can't get into a line of credit, then that's where the Money Max comes in. It can help you. If you need that information, that'll be under the video in the description as well. If you would like to join my 5-week masterclass starting Saturday, August the 2nd at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, and every Saturday through August, we're going to be working with your worksheets. We're going to be talking about velocity banking. We're going to be talking about infinite banking. We're going to be talking about the Money Max. It is jam-packed. And I'm taking a lot of my time to sit and work with you for 5 weeks for $125 for the whole month, the whole 5 weeks. That's great. And I'm like tickled to do it. But I'm just saying, it's not going to cost you a lot of money to get the answers that you need. Okay? So I am going to put the links under the video. You're welcome to reach out, but don't reach out. I don't want you to. I want you to watch videos, and I want you to educate yourself, because it's totally easy once you figure out how to use these lines of credit and how they work. I'm telling you, it's exciting, people, and I'm excited for you. Okay, so I am going to jump off of here tonight. It's getting late. I'm excited I got to spend some time with you. You know, the thing is I just want to encourage you and tell you, you can do this. I know you can. Oh, and September the 1st through the 3rd, Labor Day, we're going to be having all of the crew come together. So everybody that I work with, from Chris and Ogle to JJ the CPA to Brent Carlson to my personal high performance coach, to who else do we have? Oh my gosh, Money Max. So many others are coming together, and we're going to have one big fun 3 days. You're welcome to join that as well. Okay, the Money Max link is going to be in the video on YouTube. Okay, and you guys go over there and subscribe and like, and let's push this channel everywhere so everybody can get this information for free. Okay, all right guys, I hope you have a great day. Thank you so much, Harry. I appreciate you guys. I hope that this is the best weekend, because you've got some information that is going to change your life, and I want to see you do good. But remember, God is the giver of wisdom. And if it wasn't for him, I don't know where I would be today. So I'm going to give him all the glory, and I hope that you guys have a great week.